And I think this panel is very special. I invite Fede, you can already invite your panel to join and have your seats. Just a quick, perhaps, context. Yes? Just a quick story. A few months ago, we met one of the Premier League teams in England, and the question there was, the CEO said, we have millions of fans on the social media, Instagram, Facebook, etc., but very few fans actually registered on the CRM. And we can monetize, obviously, the real fans on the CRM, but what the hell we can do with the like, he said. And I think most of the people in this audience, and we are all now in a verge of transformation in anything to do with sports tech, whether it's smart stadiums, whether it's the fan experience in the stadium at home, whether it's performance, analytics, virtual reality, of course, esports. And the question is, how can we, if we look a few years ahead, how can we better monetize, how can we better engage with our fans? I spoke to one of the leading esports teams. He said to me, I asked him, what is your major challenge? He said, how do I monetize fans during live games? Okay, the fans are there, it's exciting. What can we do? What are the technologies available to monetize and to engage in live games? So that's just in a nutshell as a context. I think we have a very strong panel today to really discuss this and really perhaps share with us some insights of what's available now and what are the insights for the future. So, Federico, please.
Thank you, Amir. Welcome, everyone. My name is Federico Weiner. I'm honored to be here in front of you because I think this is a great panel. We have a great lineup of experts that I will present shortly. But adding on top of what Amir said, a recent study, a research from Forrester Wave, revealed that 80% of the brands out there are not monetizing properly their social followers. I think this is one of the core challenges of the industry. I have seen it in many different projects across the globe. And basically, a follower is just a like. A customer is someone on the CRM that you know and you want to convert into a premium VIP customer of your brand. To get into the answers, how we can do that in the sports industry, I will present 5 experts out there. Danny Cerejido, which is member of the Hype Advisory Board and represents La Liga in Russia. Sorry for the names. Tom Schurz, he is a media and marketing manager for the Eredivisie and Fox in Netherlands. Jan Speyer, he is a senior director digital for Lagardère, one of the major brand agencies in sports out there. We have Stefan Juster, founder of FanPicture in 2012, recently was sold to a new company, and he's based in Switzerland with a lot of expertise across the globe in fan engagement in stadiums. And Yaniv Levin, CEO of Talkabot, a very innovative startup from Israel. Personally, I have seen them since the very beginning. I'm super excited what they do with the fan conversion and monetization in online platforms. So, guys, let's start. I hope I haven't missed anyone on the titles or the names. And why don't we start with the federations, with Danny? What's the major challenges that you have as La Liga to engage with your fans? What's your strategy? What do you do actually in the online and offline world to convert them from viewers into real customers?
So thank you, Fede, for the introduction. Thank you very much for inviting me here. We have a huge challenge federations and football leagues that I represent to convert, as you said, our followers to real money to monetize them. We have been using in the last year the marketing tools that we have developed, well, like applications, our website, La Liga TV, which is an OTT system, also the attendance to the events, to try to convert our followers and to get their data to offer them personalized service, which at the end is what we need to get money from our funds. But the process is still tedious on that. We have long registration processes, which actually are stopping people from registering. That's why actually this is one of the things that we are looking for in the startups, that they help us to reduce actually this long and tedious process of registration that can bring us more clients. But also we are trying to monetize with the current clients that we have. In La Liga, as I explained you, we had several developed marketing tools, application, website, La Liga TV, events, the cookies that we're using in our branded content to acquire this data. And our challenge that we have been working in the last 3 years, we have a team of business intelligence of La Liga of 25 people internally working just in this, to acquire this data, is to get this information and offer personalized service to these clients that can help our clubs to get this information and to sell better their products and our product.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, a global brand like La Liga, right? I mean, one of the major tournaments across the globe, not only on football, probably in the global sports area, and also one of the top 10 leagues is the Eredivisie in the globe. We have Tom, which is the marketing manager for the league, and basically, I guess you have more or less the same challenges, but also being you in the European Union, I guess in the last 2 years with the GDPR new regulations, you struggle a little bit more to get into the fund. What can you tell us about this?
Well, this is true. I do the brand partnerships at the Eredivisie, and one of the assets we use to sell in our partnerships is the use of our database, which has become a little bit harder with GDPR, because you have to get explicit opt-ins from all the people in your database to communicate with them on behalf of your partners. So one of the things we're struggling with is how to communicate with a total database of 1.7 million people, where we have only about 300,000 people who have opted for a newsletter. So we can reach only 300,000 people who are willing to receive messages, personalized messages from our partners. And one of the ways we try to increase that number of opt-ins is by using social media and using contests or quizzes or stuff like that to get awareness of the Eredivisie, and from there convert them to our website and then make them register. And when they register, they get more content available for them, or they get some specific products for free, they get some discounts, and then they give an opt-in, and then we can communicate with them more further.
Good, good. In that respect, I guess, Jan, you receive a lot of requests from stakeholders like federations and clubs to get advice, to get insights, how to move forward in this return of investments, in the conversion rates of the fans. Can you tell us a little bit about the numbers out there? Which software and technological solutions you are normally suggesting and deploying with the customer alongside them? And what is the major challenges that you identify from these stakeholders?
That's a lot of questions, and I don't think there's one straight answer to this. As always, it depends. It depends on the club. So every club has to find his own first way forward. However, what I can say is what we currently experience. We have a major shift of the apps. So the clubs more and more understand how valuable the club app is. So, because this is an own channel, this is a channel you can control about. I'm telling no secrets, but we just work with BBB on the new Borussia Dortmund app, and they're pretty far ahead there to understand how much power you have with this app. You can get the data there, you can start collecting it, you can start connecting the dots, and then, of course, you still have a way to go with pushing it to the CRM. And I'm not saying it's easy. Actually, I'm saying it's a tough challenge, and you have the situation that you even start this challenge in every industry. Like building a CRM is not something that is unique for sports, but you have both. You have a big amount of chances with all these followers, all these fans out there, and it's a long way. It's nothing where you just do like this and then you have your data.
Is it different from football than other sports, or you see the same challenges across every competition out there?
I mean, football is ahead of the other sports and still behind of other industries. So it is a challenge, but of course, I mean, in Siemens, they don't have so many social media followers that are really this much valuable that they really can convert them. So I really want to stress out the chances you have as a club. You have this tremendous potential out there, and it's worth diving for it. However, it takes a while. So if you now start setting this up, you will not get something out in the first 2 years. So, when it comes to data monetization, I'm saying if you build a new app, you can monetize in this and so on, but it will take a while.
That's great, thank you. I started in the sports and entertainment industry 2 decades ago, more or less. And I remember when I was a kid, everything about branding was, drink something, buy something in a banner in a stadium, or hopefully in a t-shirt. And that type of message changed. We are ad block in our head. We don't want to see more advertisement this way. People is moving away from being tracked, conserving their data much more than before. Everyone is aware of this. And that's why startups like FanPicture talk about they have a voice to help and tackle the real industry challenges. I think this is the real value of Hype as a platform. And I want to ask you, Stefan, as an innovator founding FanPicture, what you did in 2012 that became so successful a story, and how do you see the technology evolving to connect with humanities and content, which is what moves the emotions of sports ahead in the next decade?
Yes. Maybe to start off with one quote that Jan mentioned there is that we've really seen the innovation curve in sports is a bit lacking behind. Having said that, what we observed in initial conversations is that clubs celebrated themselves. I have 10 million Facebook fans. I have on YouTube 100 million views on that final goal. And then when you ask them in those conversations, do you know who is viewing that? Do you know who makes money with it? It's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. It's on their channels. So we have to help them to somehow get them on their own channels, as you mentioned with the app or OTT, because then you give fans a face. It's not anonymous. It's not those 10 million likes, because what's really valuable is 10,000 fans that I can have a face that I can target with a newsletter campaign. And then what we saw on the brand side, because it's a big interaction between the rights holder, clubs, leagues, and the brands, we saw that they are shifting to experiences. They want to have memories. The selfie generation wants to go out and show that picture. I was in the stadium. I was at Staples Center. I have now memories that I was there once when Kobe had 81 points or something like that. So they want to have those memories and share it. So what we approached with our company is we said we have to tackle those challenges. We have to give fans a face. Giving them the face, they can start monetizing them. But it's a process that you can't just, when you have an email address, Stefan Scheurer from Switzerland, it's not that you monetize straight away. So you have to tell them that's a process of 1, 2, 3 years. And how can we do it? We always said, when I talk to clients in the USA, we said we want to give them games or experiences that they're willing to share their social security number. And the social security number is obviously a bit exaggerated, but the social security number should be linked to experiences. So we had a patented technology that you have an instant win game in a stadium. So what we once did is people in the stadium, you have to imagine 20,000 people, take out your smartphone, and then a countdown. After 30 seconds, less phones blink, and then only one phone blink. Could walk on the court and do the coin toss for Roger Federer. We did in an NHL game, we did a seat upgrade using that same technology. And doing that stuff, fans are willing to share their data. And then you start filling their database. But there's one last challenge there, is that many teams, clubs, leagues don't have a database yet. So, and that's why I'm impressed to see the last 2 or 3 years that players, and we have them here, like La Liga Eredivisie, have this 1.7 million fans on their database, and our solution should, with experiences like that, help them to turn 300,000 fans into 500,000 fans that are willing, despite GDPR and double opt-in and all those questions, to share their information.
That's great, thank you. As we know, marketers can get fans from different channels. The point is, how do you engage with them, and you are interactive and scale in a proper way, because you cannot have people typing 24 hours, 7 days a week and expecting that to service everyone. So I think, Yanni, you have a lot of experience on this with Talkabot, which is an interactive platform to monetize the users in, I think, in a very friendly way, in different multi-channels, chats and different widgets and technologies that you can deploy. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this, and how did you help clubs and federations and brands to move forward?
So it's always difficult to be the last one because everyone already spoke about all the challenges. So we see the same challenges in the market. We are speaking today with clubs, with publishers, and when you speak with them, you see very clearly the problems inside of your face. First of all, when it comes to sport clubs, so what happens there is that, as you said, they lost the users to the platform. So they have the fans, but the user belongs to Facebook, to Instagram, to Twitter, and it's very difficult for them to monetize those users and to convert them into the CRM. Second thing is the publisher themselves. We're working today with the Bild in Germany for the last few months, and it's a never-ending competition between many publishers of how to convert users, how to be able to suggest a platform, smart platforms to advertisers to be able to monetize experiences. Now, what we are doing in Talkabot is that we created a smart platform that allows us to interact with the fans in real time based on exciting moments. So the platform creates content, reacting to real life events and reacting to articles, and convert the user and monetize the users as a result. I'll give you an example, a great example. For example, we are partnering with Bild and covering Borussia Dortmund for the Bild. 2 weeks ago, there was a case that one of the Norwegian players, Haaland, scores 3 goals right on the first time that is played in a game. And our smart platforms know, understand what is happening and give an exciting score to each and every event in a game. Right after his third goal, we just through our widgets in the Bild, we just interact with the user who is voting. Do you think that this is the most exciting moment this year in the Bundesliga, together with the stats that this is the first time that someone is doing this in the Bundesliga? And right after they voted, we linked them into the Bild shop to buy the Haaland shirts in 20% discount. Now, the beauty of this is that you interact with them when they're excited, and you interact with them when they have the most chances that they will buy the shirt, because they interact in the vote. They already vote, so we know that they're engaged, and then we are linking them into the shop, into the right place in the shop. That's what we're doing also with clubs. Okay, we have the clubs have a lot of assets like ticketing. The clubs have also assets like merchandising, and the clubs have sponsors, and those sponsors want to interact with the fans. This is why they're sponsoring the clubs, and they want to interact with the fans. And what's better to interact with them when they're happy, when they're excited, and then to create a linkage. So this is what we are doing in general. We have a multi-widgets platform that we embed in all the digital channels of our customers. And behind we have what we call today, it's the new buzzword, the customer data platform, which allows us to build a profile on the users from all those channels and to convert them into the CRM. So in general, it helps them to monetize and to continue the interaction with the fans over time.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think great start for the panel, and maybe this is an open question that every one of you can tackle from different angles. I remember 2 generations ago, clubs, federations were getting money from tickets. People going to stadiums. Then this changed with TV, right? TV rights became 70, 80, 90% of the revenue of each club, each federation, depending how big they are. And now, just few names in Europe, in the football market, can say, oh yes, I get 50% from TV and the rest from marketing and so on. For all the tail of the sports business, this is a huge challenge to move away from TV rights as a source of revenue and get technology on board to tackle this challenge. So how do you see this? How we can move it from TV rights, let's say, to social media revenue with new feeds like sports betting, which has fueling many competitors out there. How do you see it from your different angles?
From my point of view, I don't think we have to get away of TV rights, but we have probably to mix the TV rights with exactly the social networks and with the interactions that we can make online with our users. I was surprised that in the meetings that we have with sponsors in Russia, I was not aware that they were aware that data is so important right now. And before, they were asking us and they were asking our teams to show in t-shirts, in the stadium, the data of their logos, the marketing assets that they have. Right now, they're coming with the question of what are you doing with data right now? And that was the vision of our president in our business intelligence department since 3 years ago, and develop this huge business for what you were saying, trying to diversify a little bit the revenues that especially small teams have to get a little bit more competitive with the top ones.
Right.
That's one of the same things for us at Eredivisie, because at Eredivisie we also partly own the broadcaster in Holland, and what we see is that we also do collective sponsoring. So we have league partners, and the amount of money they pay compared to what we get with selling TV rights is getting more and more. And the thing is that to our sponsors, we don't only sell visibility and exposure, but we also try to get them to know how to get real return on investment. So every sponsor wants to sell their own products, and one of the ways to do it is to get visible, but it's not enough anymore. You don't visibility can also be you can get it somewhere else. You can get it on Facebook, very targeted, but you can also get it in TV ads or stuff like that. So what we're trying to do is not only offer visibility, but also offer direct communication with the fans. So sponsors and partners can also directly see what their communication delivers to them as a company.
Right. The digital platforms, I guess, connecting brands and sponsors and technologies out there to drive the message differently is what Lagardère does day to day. What's normally the investment and the project length for a typical club that wants to start moving out or increasing their revenue out of the TV rights?
I wouldn't say they come to us and want to switch from TV rights. I what Daniel said, it's still a remarkable source of income, and it will stay for a while, which is pretty. However, what we saw at the beginning, just coming back to the ads maybe, at the beginning it was just another
way of present your sponsors, right? You had them in the stadium before, and now you can see them in the apps. So at the beginning, it was all about building apps, so you can monetize on the sponsor. That was like probably 6-7 years ago, and now then we had, so that was case number one, and now then it switches to fuel it with news, with content. That is the current curve that is going to the end, where we would wanted to communicate with the fans, because just coming back, social media follow, and then it's everybody, they are the fans. So they were presenting content there, news, starting to get engaged with the fans. And now the third curve that is currently starting on the third trend, that is now where you have the additional upside that you do not have somewhere else. So in the app you can present something that you do not get in any other channel, and that is also, I think, the overall challenge, or the overall question the clubs, for example, need to answer: where can I get additional upside for fans, and then they will engage.
I remember from the first political campaigns many years ago that it doesn't matter what they say about you in the press. The important thing is that they say something, right? It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. But with technology, right, yes. So now I guess sentiments on social analytics is very important. How do you interact with them from a technological point of view and maybe from a content point of view to react quickly on the goods and probably on the bads, because on the bads is where you want to deliver the key message, particularly during a crisis, right? I guess your technologies can play a huge role on that to detect the sentiments, who is unhappy about it, and how we can react with a proper marketing campaign behind it. Do you have any business case?
I think it's, as everything in life, it's about good communication. And the good communication starts there, that if it's good news, everyone wants to talk about it. If it's bad news, people shy away from it and don't take responsibility. But the best case is actually if you are proactive about it. And that means if we talk about the example from Talk About, I think this positive emotion element that you drive a business outcome is great to talk about it. But I think there are possibilities also, I don't want to jinx him, but if a player gets injured, and you could also do a get well campaign there. I mean, in one of our products that we did, we had fan-generated content. And one player got injured, the star player, and then we created a campaign via social that helped to get well messages, and we wanted to break a record for that. And I think going back to the previous point with the TV rights, just to add one element there is, we in our conversations always say, actually you are lucky, you have that income coming in, but with everything that happens on digital or on the smartphone, it's a new opportunity for you. But you also have to shift your thinking from your employees to that. I mean, yes, the media guy who does the big deal is the one celebrated because he brings the money in. But you need to have experts on the social digital side to actually start monetizing the CRM or building content there. And that's actually where I want to cross one small bridge to other sports than football, is that we have clients in handball and ice hockey. They don't have the same TV budgets. But what they do is they say, okay, yes, we really try to be innovative on campaigns and using new stuff, and that's also exciting. But those technologies have to be simple, because we cannot expect them to have 5 employees to help us integrate a widget. So that's great if Talk About has something super simple, plug and play. That was always our approach as well, because we don't want to overwhelm them, but we need them to go back and communicate to their fans and give them a voice.
Thank you. Janif?
I made another angle to this. Those fans are... What happened is that those fans have so many possibilities today, and so much, they are filled with so much content, that you have to be smart in order to engage with them in the right timing, in the right context, and to get their attention. And you must be smart. I can give you a great example from the last World Cup. Messi, Lionel Messi was the presenter of a very famous drink company, and the message that the campaign that they did is like drink like the champions, and they just posted in all the social media campaigns during the World Cup, but they also posted it after they lost. Okay, so you're in a situation that you're coming to the article, you read that Argentina just lost, and you see now many advertisements say, come and drink like the champions. Now, the message is not good. The message is it's misleading, and some of those advertisers started to think of how we can interact with the fans in the right timing and context, in reacting to different situations, and be able to convert them in a smart way. So what we are doing for them, others as well, is allows them in real time to respond to events, to respond to real time moments, and to come up with the right message in the right context. And it helps them to be brand friendly, to be brand aware, and also to monetize better to those brands. And I really got what you said with regards to exposure versus engagement. This world is a world, the old world was a world of exposure. So the business model was, the more we expose you, the more you pay. But the problem became that it was like a billboard. Okay, nothing smart and nothing no ROI for the brands. Mm-hmm. So they're looking for how we create experiences and engagement in order to convert them better.
That's one thing we're talking about. Obviously, is relevance, and then what we also see in all our communications is that when you become more relevant, you get higher open rates of emails, you get higher engagement. All those kind of things can be done with great products you talk about, and sorry, what was your company? Yeah, Paint Vector does. Those are great tools to increase relevance in communications towards your fans. So and you can do this mostly from your own platform, when you have the people in your own CRM that you know a lot about them, and you can communicate in a relevant way with them. One example I want to share is that we had with my previous job at SC Twente, where we did a season ticket campaign, and we had personalized all the email communications up to 40 different kinds of messages. And this led to an open rate of 82% and a click-through rate of 57%. And it was all based on relevance, talking to the right people at the right moment with the right message, just like you say.
I think that I find my next customer.
There's also, we were just talking about this, there's one thing that came to my mind, one example, how you can engage with your fans even more easy. There is an example from Hertha BSC, and they launched a new app. It was actually something we were a little bit suspicious, but they were really convinced they wanted to do it. They did had a game against Bayern Munich, and they wanted to have a little stadium show at the beginning, including the app. And so all they had the app was then doing was blinking. So you were holding it up, it was just flashing. And we said, okay, I mean, it's your app, you do whatever you want. And then it broke all records for downloads in these days before, and there was thousands of people holding up their phone, and just that the app did nothing else but just flash. But it worked. We had never this much downloads for the other app with just this small trick.
Simple ideas sometimes are more successful than a big deployment out there, right? I remember who controls the past, controls the present, who controls the present, controls the future. This is from 1984, George Orwell. And basically, I'm asking you guys, there is a crisis committee when something happens to manage all this stuff from a content perspective, and which type of software do you use from the federation perspective to react quickly? My question comes because in the past, we had one broadcaster per league, maybe one TV channel in the country. later on chew and so on, but you can control much more the message. Right now, it's not only for the people in the stadium, whatever happens in there gets replicated very quickly. So do you have like a specific protocol for this type of stuff?
We have a protocol. It's not a technical protocol, though. It's just a human expansion of people all over the world checking what is wrong and what is not, informing the headquarters, and they make the decisions from digital and communication department. Though what you're saying is a great idea to have some just in a blink of an eye, you're receiving information of a crisis that takes the right decision based on business intelligence or in the information that you already have stored from your clients, from your partners, from whatever happened before. We are in this process of development. We are still not there. Of course, we're looking for the help of startups, of external advisors, our internal team, to develop this process to make it faster and more accurate. But right now, what we have is human network, just an internal network of people who is making decisions, and of course, it delays a little bit the response that we have, but we need also, on top of the technology, the human approach to get right to solve this crisis moment.
Right. Talking about the hype of the industry, right? That's what the Hyper Sports Innovation is about. To sort out this challenge, probably artificial intelligence will play a big role in the next few years. So how the rest of the panel think about it? What do you think about it when you imagine how artificial intelligence will help you to develop your product, to react more properly, and to be more efficient in your processes?
I'll take it first. If you think about it, live events, it's all about speed, it's all about reacting fast, and if you want to generate the best content and monitor this content in real time, you need to come up with technology that will help you to do it. Here's come the AI as a tool that can help to make this happen. Okay, in our case, for example, but this is only in one use case, so we have the ability to scan the articles in real time. We have the ability to understand what the fans are talking about with our NLP technology, and then in real time to create a content that reacts to their needs, to their preferences, and then we have a chance to monetize it. So I think that the challenge that the sport industry has is that you must react fast in a very dynamic world, and you cannot achieve it without an AI platforms that will help you to make it happen.
Right. I see that many people are agreeing to this, so this is what Hype is about, right? A big hub to connect different stakeholders that want to tackle the same challenge. Jan?
Maybe I'm not too sure if I agree, because let me just, tell you why. Artificial intelligence is super. It is a future, and I'm not disagreeing in any point of that. And we really need to engage in this. However, what I just want to point out is it should be a step-by-step case. And when I'm looking around in the sports industry, the most clubs, or even like that, we have challenges, not taking too many steps behind and then not doing the base work. And just coming back to the topic where we hear making them fall into your CRM. So, for example, as a club, or if you do not have a proper CRM, you can start some prototypes with artificial intelligence, and there's stuff that helps you, but having a big AI strategy without having the groundwork, I wouldn't recommend this, to be honest.
Tom, how many clubs have a proper CRM and proper technologies in place like other industries in their division? I would be surprised of a big number, because as far as I know the industry, many clubs are lagging behind any other type of industry. What do you say about this?
Well, in the Eredivisie we have 18 clubs, and I can say all 18 clubs have their own CRM system, also connected with several data touch points. For example, the ticketing system, the access control system, but also social media and their website and their apps integrated. So in the Eredivisie, the clubs they have it good.
That's great. What about La Liga?
I cannot tell you specifically the number of clubs that they have developed system of data storage and development. I know they are working on that, and the number of clubs that are using data to improve their products and the matches is growing. As well, we are doing that from the last years. As a use case, I can tell you that we are using an algorithm from data that we are acquiring from different sources to schedule our matches every week. So we have an algorithm that we introduce 70 different variables, about 70 different variables that give us the perfect time for each match during the weekend, where you will have the maximum audience in the stadium, the maximum audience in the television, and the maximum attendance as well. We are using these 70 variables. We just put them. Before, it was a huge human process of deciding, taking the stakeholders, speaking with these people, with this one, with this club, I don't like this time. Now we get a calendar from this algorithm that is the best for everyone, from our partners and exposure, from our broadcasters in number of viewers, and from our clubs in number of attendance to the stadium. So we are already taking the approach to improve our product with the data.
That's the voice from the leagues. Danny, you have been in the industry many years. What do you see the clubs struggling with this CRM deployment? Maybe you have a different point of view because you directly interact with the challenges and the problems that they have.
Yeah, I think regarding the point from Jan, I think that's the foundation, that if you build a house, you need to have a good groundwork to go up. And I'm not surprised to hear from Tom that the Eredivisie is a lead on that side, that they have that basis, because I think if you start off with a nice CRM or database that you can do newsletter marketing and email marketing, that's the foundation. Then you add to it in the mix, for example, the app. The app gets you more people there, and you extend the terms and conditions with games and say, okay, now use that number again from those 300,000 users we want to give, get it up there. I mean, that's very important to start off like that you do a process step-by-step approach. What we see, for example, in Switzerland in ice hockey is that more than half of the teams don't have a CRM. The other half, or 80% of that other half, uses Excel, and that Excel is somewhere lost just on the server. And then there's one player who uses a CRM, but then they go to a player like Salesforce, and no offense, they do the best stuff, but it's overwhelming them. Because you almost, I'm not saying you need a PhD to work for it, but I mean, if you have a staff of 10 people in marketing, sales, sponsorship, and then you need to have a guy to work on a CRM tool that can target to a minimum level, you are overwhelmed. Hence, you shouldn't go for a solution like that. You should really have a digital strategy, have a conversation what you want to build, how you want to get those users on a database, and then roll it out with a nice step-by-step strategy using then tools like an app or other fan engagement solutions.
Well, that's totally true, because I totally agree with you guys. When you don't know how to use the data, it's pretty useless to have a lot of data, because what's data worth? Data is only something worth when you can use it to communicate in a more relevant way. And I think that's one of the key things to think about as a company and as a sports organization. We have 18 clubs who have a CRM system, but I think 9 or 10 don't know really how to use the CRM system in order to increase sales, ticketing sales, increase sponsor messages and stuff like that.
I think you have actually to have the right people inside, as you said, to ask the right questions to the data that you have storage in your systems to get the right solutions. And that's the whole point. You can have a bunch of data, yes. So what? I mean, if you don't have the right person who can analyze this data and provide present and future solutions, it's worthless. It's just you spend a lot of money in gigabytes.
Yeah, maybe there's one thing I want to chime in. There's the talk about example I actually like with the, Haaland scored a goal, here you get a 10% discount on your Haaland shirt. But that's actually, there's one message there. You not only get it because Haaland just scored a goal, don't forget the 10% discount. I know clubs sometimes have difficulties giving discounts, but that's also one important thing. We just had a Black Friday sale on very good was doing FC Kaiserslautern. They were training this for a while there with their fans, and they were really doing like 3,000% up sale just on the Black Friday sale. The whole club had the strategy behind it. They had planned it, push it on the different channels, not just say, okay, we have a Black Friday, you just go for it.
Absolutely.
And another example I actually like, when you have the fans in the CRM, do something like, okay, you are a public fan, you are a member since 30 years, it's your birthday coming, why not come to the VIP area? This is the small things where you start off.
And the most important challenge, if you ask me, I absolutely agree with this. What we see, okay, it takes time and it takes years to implement a platform like CRM and to use it correctly. But then comes the real challenge, which I was a guest of a very famous Premier League football club a year ago, and they shared with us that they have 500 million potential users in their social channels, but in their CRM they have only 2% of the users. So how you can convert 98% of your potential into the CRM, because this is the huge advantage. This is the upside for them in order to make the next generation monetization for the club.
Yeah, you're talking about multi-channel and new sources of revenue, how we convert them on the CRM. But the multi-channel is not only about moving to marketing, to retail, to diversifying a little bit your strategy of selling. It's also about new sports or new e-sports in your brand. And this is something that the sports industry is exploring actually. E-sports is a buzzword, just like monetization, fan engagement. What can you tell us about this? I mean, are you receiving a lot of attraction from the e-sports industry? Do you have a proper strategy to go out there? Are you moving out of football simulation and video gaming, maybe to make your brand aware in League of Legends, Dota 2, or Fortnite? How do you manage also the violence on such games? Some clubs don't want to go such deep thing, particularly with Counter-Strike and other war simulation games. What do you think about this?
In Liga, we opened our esports department a couple of years ago. We already developing our leagues, and normally we are actually making football games. We have our tournament of FIFA that we are actually broadcasting, but not only in esports. We are not going, as you said, like World of Tanks or Counter-Strike because of these violent instances that you pointed out. You pointed out that they still don't match very much with our values. But in the second point that you said, we have a new OTT, then we are collaborating with another sports. We are actually having La Liga TV that we opened no long time ago, 4 or 5 months ago, where we have agreements with the Spanish Federation of another sports to broadcast, and to give them the exposure that we have and that they don't have the means to get. And what we are doing with that is acquiring more data from these users of these sports that they can watch only the favorite sports through our application. So we are doing both. Still in the esports, we are in an early stage of development, but we are working not only with our own sports, but trying to get a broader spectrum of the whole world of sports.
Tom, when I met you first time, I remember you were in a club in Twente, and you told me that there was an event with a football player and an esports player in the stadium.
Yeah.
And what was the result of that? Can you remind the audience?
Well, the thing was that when the football player and the esports player, they went out of the hotel after a European match, and all the little kids, they were just going towards the E-player and not towards our striker.
Right.
So he was far more popular towards kids.
That's incredible. I mean, a few years ago, who can say that a video game player, professional video game player, can get more attraction than the striker of the hometown team? How do you manage that from Lagardère point of view? Because probably you deal also with esports teams and brands.
Yes, I mean, we have a whole department for this. We are pretty big in League of Legends, marketing the whole European Championship. So it's a hype to where we are. It's a big topic, but to be fair, it is still in a different state of development. Of course, it is, so I don't see too many connections to, for example, football clubs. They still, how could they? I mean, football clubs are like 50, 70, 100 years old. They have grown structures, and the esports team just started. But you have to say they catch up pretty quickly. They grow on the structures very fast. If you ask me what is the major challenge from the marketing perspective, I think that it's so fast moving. It's too fast moving. You never know who's the best player. Is he going to stay at this team, or is he going to go to another team in 1 year because they don't have long-lasting contracts? You don't even know if he's the best player. For Messi, it's pretty sure he's for 10 years. But for this guy, it's because there's another 15-year-old coming, and then it's gonna. So there's a lot of challenges compared to football, and what we do is what also sponsors do, and we are still in the process of figuring it out. We take what we know from football and try to adapt to esports, and then we see not everything is working out there.
Right. What's going on in Switzerland with this? I mean, there is many clubs entering the esports area.
Not too many. We have one or two, and it's exactly as we observe, for example, in Germany as well. When one of the bigger one gives a statement, yes, we join it, and the other one say, no, we are a traditional football team. We don't want to do it. That's clearly the opinion. But I think the esports example is super interesting because it could be something that the traditional sports like football could learn. When we look at the League of Legends, and I recently had a conversation with them in LA, is that they said, yes, we have those millions of fans on Twitch. And we are not talking 1 million, 2 million, it's really in the hundreds. But we cannot monetize them. Can you help us? And then I said, yeah, I wish I could help you, but it's exactly the same link as we had before in the conversation, that you mentioned the club, most likely it's Manchester United with those millions of fans, but they cannot monetize it. And it's the same from them. They need to get them back from Twitch on their own channels. And we discussed an introduction of one specific product of ours that we said, why don't you give those fans that use second screen to watch it a voice? And the voice could be a simple vote, like who was the best player in that League of Legends game. And then you can even compare it to an expert when they broadcast it and say, that's the fan's voice, that's the voice of the broadcaster. And it simple means like that, like your example with those lights blinking. I mean, you wouldn't believe it, but it's simple to execute. It's simple to execute such a vote, but you get them on a first level to interact with you. But I think when we have football traditional, that people watch it on Sky or even DAZN, those are paid platforms. But maybe sooner or later we have the YouTube stream as well for football games, and then the learnings that we get from esports, we can then transfer to the traditional sports.
Yeah, we have 3 minutes left. Maybe Yannick, you also detect a different behavior from the esports fan to the sports fan, how brands are addressing this to your technology.
First of all, we have to understand that the esports fans are much younger. Totally different behavior, totally different reactions, and totally different speed. So here come again the importance of understanding who is your fan. You cannot send the same content in the same pace, in the same channels to your fans. You need to do the other way around. You need to understand who is your fan, what is your favorite, and how to connect them in a way that they will be able to listen to you. Like you said, most of the e-game fans are in Twitch, in these channels. You cannot bring them to the app, they don't understand it. My son is only in YouTube and in Twitch. If you will not reach him there, you will not get him there. Even, there's a huge joke that me and my wife always see. I'm watching football in the TV. and my son is 10 years old, and he really likes football. But when I watch football, he's in his room. I ask him, why you're not coming to join and watch with me the football game? He said, no, I watch it in YouTube. And even though we have the broadcast in the TV, he still prefers to watch it in YouTube because this is the favorite channel of the next generation, fans. And this is where esports comes into the picture because they are, in the esport, they are in the games, and you need to start and interact with them there if you want to convert them to be a fan in the future.
It's all about the natural environment of each fan. And because we have 1 minute left, and we are talking about fan engagement, I would like to open to the audience maybe the last question, because the fans also have a voice. I see one hand raising in there, so please.
Hello, my name is Alexandra, and I have a question about I'm sure that you're aware that now young fans are not following the clubs. They're not fan of the clubs. They're fan of an athlete. Like when I ask a 10-year-old child, who are you supporting? He's like, I'm supporting Ronaldo. No matter he's playing for Real Madrid or Juventus, he's supporting Ronaldo. He will buy Ronaldo's jersey. It doesn't matter if it's Real or Juventus. From the perspective of the club, have you thinking about or leagues educating your athletes? Because I'm working for one of the basketball clubs in Serbia, and my top popular player is not the best player, but the one who is the most popular on Instagram, and everybody wants his jersey, not from the best player. So have you think about it? Educating the players. I know it's hard to work with them, but have you think about it or doing something about it?
Who'll take it?
Well, what we see at the Eredivisie is that young players, also understand social media more and more. So it's that generation that also knows how to react to fans, and when people, players, they are aware of the fact that they're also a brand themselves, then they can grow. But it's not something we do as a league to help them with that. It's something that comes naturally up.
From my point of view, I partially disagree with your point, and we can actually set the example with Ronaldo in Spain. Ronaldo left from Real Madrid to Juventus, and he brought a bunch of users to Juventus on social networks, definitely.
Big bunch.
But from new markets, not from traditional football markets. In Spain, a fan of Real Madrid is a fan of Real Madrid. Doesn't matter if Ronaldo goes to Juventus, to Bayern Munich. Actually, they have a tendency to hate the player who leaves, and which is actually.
He just reached 20,000 million on Instagram. He's the first person to do it. I'm not sure that people.
Where are they coming from? That's the question. China, India, Southeast Asia, not traditional football markets like Europe, Italy,
But who are your
Spain.
customers? That's the question now.
That's true. But still,
Who's buying jerseys?
still, big teams and teams, they have a brand that, in my opinion, is bigger than the football player brand in terms of watching football. Actually, the numbers in our league in Real Madrid said that despite Ronaldo leaving, Real Madrid attendance and audience grew up.
I would agree. I think it's only valid for the fans that have no home club. So think about it. At the beginning, I'm Chinese. Okay, I know it's Manchester United out there, it's Real Madrid, and it's BVB and whatever. But I have not really attended. How could I? And I didn't grow up with this. It's not in my town. So at the beginning, maybe I'm following Cristiano Ronaldo. Totally true. Then I'm following him from Real Madrid to Juventus. But at some point of time, I get hooked up to the club. And as soon as I am hooked up to Juventus Turin, I will stick with Juventus Turin. That's true for Europe, that's true for China, and that's true for South America. So it's only valid this for the fans who have no home team.
Exactly, that's true, for example, for European fans of NBA. They follow Michael Jordan no matter where they play.
But I think it's connected to the age of the users.
Yeah. I agree on that one.
Young users are not connected to the clubs. No matter if I'm supporting, for example, Manchester United, my son in the future will not support it because of me.
Right.
He will support it if he likes one of the players.
Yeah, but at some point he will
Use the
choose his.
At some point he will choose his team. It might not be Manchester United, but he will not only continue to follow one player.
Actually, we have started the survey. It has 15,000 users, and those are users from 13 to 18 years old. And we were analyzing them, and they are specific that they do not support clubs. They are a fan of an athlete.
It's the same. I disagree, and I'm just saying.
Yeah.
When I was this age,
I was surprised too.
I was starting getting a football fan because of Andi Möller. Maybe everybody knows this famous player, and now I'm a fan of BVB. But it started with Andi Möller, and it's 20 years ago.
Right.
So I'm not saying too much changes.
We are a little bit over time, but I'm pretty sure that the audience will have more questions and you can reply on the side of this panel. I want to thank everyone in the room for being so attentive, for giving your expertise in the industry. And as a fan, I grew up as a fan of Banfield, so I will first Banfield, second Banfield, third Banfield, and I hope everyone have enjoyed as I did. And please follow your emotions, follow your teams, follow your brands, but also follow the technology and the insights that can give you more monetization to your CRM. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Federico, and great session, very fascinating topics today. Thank you very much. Following up this session, we have another session on esports, which starts at 2 o'clock, focusing on the first accelerator for startups focusing on esports. And